Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pate. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. Come on in. You're just in time. I'm about ready to test out my new hybridization machine. Ready? No time for the wicked. Here goes nothing. Let me crank this bad boy up. Okay, ready? Whoa. I think, testing. That's too much. Let me try again. I like this one here. Next.
All right. Yes, indeedy. I think we found ourselves a sweet spot. This is a hybrid I'm sticking with. We are now McConifered out. Oh, and enjoy the podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Going to try to get this out to you same day. Apologize for the delay. You might be thinking, oh, you partied it up on Labor Day weekend. I wish. I always keep it real with you a little bit at the top of the hour. I basically had a full head, body, room spins for the last 3 days. I could not watch or do anything or walk around, or I needed help from my wife to move around. Had some head pressure so bad that I was sure I was going to have a seizure again because I was having horrible tremors. But anyway, I am in the midst of doing some treatments this morning. You might be able to hear the oxygen generator in the background. And that's just how it's going to have to be today for this podcast. If you don't like it, you can obviously skip to the next one and wait for that. So what are we going to talk about today? Today, one of the things I have with fighting this illness is I've had a lot of time to think, and process and think about art and think about life and think about what matters and think about, the direction of art and think about topics for you all that I want to cover and talk about. And one of the things I was thinking about recently was kind of the future of art and the future of being an artist in this crazy landscape of everybody's trying to adapt to the madness of technological increases and all the things that are going on in the world, political craziness and everything, wars. My wife just texted me that she was late to work because a woman was naked on the road in a high-speed police chase and she was waving a hammer around. So that's that. And obviously I feel bad for this woman. She's obviously has some issues But it's just kind of one of those things that we're dealing with some craziness. And I always like to be prepared for what is coming. And yes, that means AI, but it doesn't just mean AI. It means a lot of other things, a lot of technological advancements, a lot of art advancements. I think the future holds for the artist to be successful. I think we need to be really thinking about being a hybrid of what the future is going to bring and the best artists of the past. I think we have to kind of hybridize our thinking and our actions. Wait, are we talking about hybrid cars? I thought we were talking about hybrid animals. Bonus points if you get that movie reference. But what do I mean when I talk about hybridization? Well, I think what it means is there's a lot of people who fall into two categories with technology and just moving on with business, but specifically with art and things that are developing. I feel like people fall into two categories, and one of those is clinging on to the past and holding on to what was and what worked in the past. And, you know, like I'm the person who has the studio, or I'm the person who has a gallery space with my studio above, and I just create my art, and I have studio visits, and I sell my art through this gallery that I have. And it's a brick and mortar gallery, and that's all I'm doing, and I'm doing word of mouth and contacts, and, you know, that's great. And that works for some people still, but there's a lot of people moving towards online and different ways of viewing art. And, you know, sometimes that might not work for everybody. But the other category is the artist who, or the person who just jumps at the newest thing, like the shiniest new object or the newest technology, and can take that a little too far. And they're untethered to the past. They're untethered to, you know, what they used to do, or their bread and butter as an artist and creating work in the studio. A great example of this for me recently was NFTs, right? And yes, there are artists who balanced NFTs very well. They continued to do their work, and they dabbled in NFTs, and maybe they made some good money. I know some artists who made some really good money. But there are those ones who just jumped 100% into the NFT market and stopped painting. And I know artists who did that too. And they just put all their eggs in one basket, and they became an NFT artist. And some of them made some money, some of them didn't. But I've seen a lot of them now scrambling to kind of get back their momentum that they lost as a fine artist. So I think that's something, those two examples are good examples of extremes, right? I believe that we need to be thinking more as like a hybrid moving forward. Like, can we adopt and adapt to new technologies and, you know, new things that are coming down the pipeline? Can we adapt to those? Can we incorporate some of those into our art? And can we still be the artist who creates their work in the studio and really is prolific and does great work that is coming from a place of individual expression? I think the answer is yes, and that's something that I've tried to do. Like, people had to adapt to online galleries, you know? A lot of people didn't want to do that, and all they stuck to their brick and mortar, and they really missed out on a lot of stuff. And when the pandemic rolled around, they were scrambling to get online. I've talked about that before. It's just another good example of that. And, you know, I think with AI, there's going to be a lot of different opportunities. Like, if you're a coder, for example, if you're somebody in the tech world, they have this new thing called vibe coding, which is basically like anybody can learn how to code with AI technology, you know, filling in the gaps. Like, you can learn in a month or two what somebody might learn going to school and majoring in computer science, something that might have been a high-tech job in Silicon Valley. Now, you know, you can be a designer and just spend some time learning this and do some vibe coding and become a pretty proficient coder and do some work with that. So that's interesting, and it brings up a whole new market of things that we can focus on. Maybe we can develop like an app moving forward, or maybe we can use that in some other way to find some sort of new resource using technology and our art by learning some vibe coding. And the irony, obviously, of course, is the tech industry. It's almost like they put themselves out of work by developing this technology. Nobody's safe, right? But at the same time, there are new opportunities available. So I'm not saying everybody should go out and become a vibe coder or whatever, or learn vibe coding. If you want to, like, look it up, look into it. Sure, I'm going to be doing it. I'm probably going to be looking into it, assuming that I get over this thing that I'm fighting. But, you know, it's one of those things where, like, I watched the documentary Yacht Rock recently, and it was actually really interesting. But some of these great musicians of this era who were labeled Yacht Rock 25 years later, they were so proficient in the studio and such great studio musicians and such great musicians in general that when MTV came around and, you know, video killed the radio star, specifically people like Michael Jackson and Madonna and, you know, Cyndi Lauper and, you know, you name it, people like that, Prince, people who had this great video image and people who could move and who could incorporate cinematography into their videos and dance and image and fashion. It like left all these people behind who were doing yacht rock. I mean, yeah, I was surprised to see that some of the people, like most of the band of Toto, ended up being background for the Thriller album and even wrote Human Nature. One of the guys from Toto wrote Human Nature. So it's interesting. That's kind of an adaptation they used. But a lot of these people were left behind when MTV came around because they weren't able to adapt. Some people did, of course, like, you know, like Phil Collinses or Billy Joel's or whatever. They were able to kind of do a little bit of a hybrid where they did some music videos. It wasn't maybe their strong suit.
Running a business comes with a lot of what ifs, but luckily there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
But, you know, they were able to kind of do that transition. I think there's so many examples of this in the arts and in the world. And I think we need to be able to strike that balance between staying true to ourselves, staying true to our art and our past and what got us here, and the evolution of art in general, what makes a good artist. But we also need to be able to embrace some of the things that are coming for us in the future. And, like, you know, if we weren't ready for social media, man, Instagram and Facebook and, you know, MySpace at the beginning, and of course TikTok and all these things. And there's going to be new social media apps coming, of course. And I think for me that was an adaptation because a lot of us as artists weren't really used to having this public facing image or making reels or videos. I had an acting background and that obviously helped me to be able to do that. But some people really had to push themselves out of their comfort zone and embrace this new technology. And I think a lot of artists, when they did that, they saw that it could be fun too. It also is a tool that we need to be able to use, but you can take it too far and it can become a source of anxiety and, you know, fear and stress and just bogging you down and, you know, searching for that next dopamine hit. Of course it can be all that. So again, it's about balance. It's about being a hybridized artist, I think. If we have that, if we can adopt that mentality moving forward, I think we can be ready for everything or anything, because as long as we're still creating the work, as long as we are a student of history and a student of what has come in art history and the people that we have been influenced by, as long as we have that ingrained in us, and that's maybe one of our core values and aesthetics, I think we can then use that and find some time and space to look and be decisive on which technologies we adopt, which things we jump at and try to, you know, dip our toes into, whether that's vibe coding or social media or online art marketplaces, or yes, NFTs, things like that. Those things are things that we need to be able to be at least open-minded to, I think, if we're going to be able to survive the transition. And I honestly believe that we can thrive. I think nowadays we can be an artist longer who stays relevant because of some of these new things that are coming. So that's kind of exciting. I think we just need to be a little bit open-minded and expansive in our thinking. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to get back to what I'm doing here on the floor. And very exciting, I know. Looking forward to bringing you a new episode next week. And I hope everybody's doing well out there. In the meantime, be good to yourselves. Be good to everybody else out there. And we'll see you next time, as always. Bye, everybody.
Well, I guess that's my cue. It's me again. Things are.
Damn it! Fucking hybridizer's broken. Technology. You know what? We don't need these hybridization mechanisms. The future is Bumford. Actually, that was pretty cool. I guess I'll keep tinkering with it. But for now, so long, suckers!
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.